Alrighty then. After a bit of a hiatus, we have the triumphant return of Torch's News Roundup. I did a few classic horror reviews during the month of October, and I encourage you to check them out if you haven't. And I'm pretty sure you haven't. Well, let's take a look at those trailers that came out recently. We have the first Iron Fist trailer that came out during New York Comic Con. I love the character of Iron Fist, but as of yet I haven't been crazy about the Netflix series Marvel have done. I haven't seen Luke Cage yet, but from what I hear it's continuing the trend of the Marvel Netflix shows by upping the sex and graphic violence. So I'll be honest in saying, I don't really have much hope for this series to buck the trend by being less dark and gritty. I guess there's a big enough market for this kind of treatment to comic characters in live action. But as I said before, I think that superhero shows and films should be accessible to all ages and not exclude anyone. If this trend continues, you're looking at the end of the genre as a popular form of entertainment. Before I go off on a rant, I actually already covered this subject in the first rant video I ever did, so check it out if you haven't already. I'll put a card up there for you to check it out. Boom! There it is. Like magic. Alright, so the trailer itself doesn't really look too bad. I really like the glowing fist we see in that one shot there. I'm disappointed that we still don't see him in costume at this point. Again, the Netflix shows seem to deal with costumes with either Easter eggs or get dragged there kicking and screaming, as in the case of Daredevil. So yeah, I'm kinda done with Marvel Netflix. I mean, yeah, I'll probably check this out when I get the chance, but I don't really hold out hope that they're going to do these shows to my satisfaction anymore. In related news, we have Sigourney Weaver cast as the main villain in the Defenders spin-off. I have no idea who she could be playing. Presumably, the Hand will be the primary antagonists of the series, but it's great that they got someone of Weaver's status in the show. We also have some casting news for the upcoming Punisher series for 2017 starring John Bernthal. Eben Moss Backrack will be playing Micro, and Ben Barnes will be playing Punisher's arch-nemesis Jigsaw. Deborah Ann Wall will also be returning to the series as Karen Page, so it sounds like it's shaping up pretty well. Alright, we'll switch gears ever so slightly over to Fox's Logan, which apparently is going to stick as the title of this movie, though I would have bet against it. I really like the music choice here of Johnny Cash, very fitting, and the lyrics seem to suit it well. We've got Logan alone again, naturally, apologies to Gilbert O'Sullivan, along with an aged, dementia-addled Professor Xavier, played once again by the great Patrick Stewart. Apparently most, if not all, mutants are gone. I'm not sure how far in the future this film is set, but it can't be too far in the future given Xavier is one of the older characters, and I doubt he's supposed to be like 100 here. They'd taken a young girl who was supposedly going to be Weapon 23. I think the villain has been confirmed to be Mr. Sinister, but I don't think we see him here. I'm really liking the dude with the robot hand, though. That looks really cool. So we have Logan in a tank top one last time, dealing hot adamantium death to those who got it coming. And apparently Professor X is going to die. Again. By the end. Since Logan, shovel in hand, and the girl look to be standing over a grave. I'm guessing that's more or less the final shot in the film, since the girl is wearing sunglasses for some reason, and Logan looks to have been put through the mill. Bad stuff went down. And no, for the record, I don't think Logan's gonna die at the end of this one. Now, I'm not gonna mince words. Like I already said, I'm not crazy about the concept of a dark and broody, overly violent final installment of the Wolverine saga. And yes, I also saw the Red Band version that has an extra shot of Logan sticking his claws right through a guy's skull. I don't feel you really need the extra level of violence, though if that's the extent of it, I guess I really can't complain. I know the internet collectively swooned over this trailer, but my criticisms are twofold. It's almost the same problem that I had with The Force Awakens, where we look to be completely undoing the happy ending that was so satisfying in Days of Future Past, where we had the whole team back again, and our best days are still ahead of us, and oh, what adventures we could have. And now, we're down to the last two guys standing. Everything went to heck, and we end the long saga on a somber downer of an ending. The other problem I have is, this story just doesn't look like there's anything I haven't seen already in terms of Wolverine. Wolverine is alone, and in pain. He's losing his powers. He takes a girl under his wing and makes it his business to protect her. Some kind of covert military unit is after him. I feel like we've done this a half a dozen times by now. I was hoping we'd get something a little more in line with bringing things full circle, like bring Rogue back and maybe Sabretooth. Do something with Omega Red. I don't know. But I think that this is as much a setup for Weapon 23 to become the new Wolverine as it is Logan's swan song. So we'll just have to see how it goes from here. Next we head over on to the last Rogue One trailer. And this one was more of a story trailer. This is the one I was looking forward to, where we get a little bit more of a feel for the framework of the story. We get to see a little more of Jyn's background and her introduction to the rebellion. I'm a little bit confused, however, since they have Jyn's father, Mads Mikkelsen, as the man responsible for the Death Star. I thought Count Dooku worked with Pogo the Lesser to develop the Death Star. I'm guessing this will turn out to have some kind of internal logic, but it's puzzling. So there's a lot of cool platitudes about, we can do this, we can win, save the dream! And I thought that was great. When I reviewed the last trailer, I said I hoped it had a Force 10 from Navarone flavor, but judging by this trailer, it seems to also have a good bit of Henry V in it, too. So, that's a good thing. I'm also going on record by saying I think Director Krennic is going to be Vader's first victim of being force-choked to death. Chronologically speaking, of course. That's going to be why he's not in A New Hope. So yeah, looks pretty good. I've been a bit indifferent to this film, I guess, but it's not really a story I was dying for them to tell. But I am intrigued. In related news, Donald Glover has landed the coveted role of Lando Calrissian in the upcoming young Han Solo movie. I'm glad Lando is getting such a high-profile actor since I really like the character. I'm not really familiar with Glover. I know he seems to be a fan favorite and he's appearing in Spider-Man Homecoming. My only concern is that they try to play Lando for laughs, like he was a goofball before he reached smoothie status. Because nothing in Empire Strikes Back would suggest that. He's got a big cape to fill in Billy D's iconic role. And finally, lest you think I've got nothing but complaints for this week, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 teaser. I really loved it. Absolutely loved it. This film really wasn't even on my radar before now, and while I liked the first film, I can't really claim to have been a huge fan of it. But yeah, this was great. I love that they went back to Blue Swede's Hooked on a Feeling. I know a lot of people were like, oh, why are they using that song again? But it really feels like their theme song to me. That song is so identifiable with them now. I'd miss it if they didn't play it in this film, and I hope they do. We don't get to see a whole lot, but there are a few shots of the cast that look great, and Nebula looks to be given a bit of an overhaul in terms of look. And I really liked that brief conversation between Drax and Star-Lord. Just hilarious. It looks like they're going to try and play up a Star-Lord-Gamora romance in the next one, which should lead to some interesting new music choices. And we got Baby Groot being carried around by Rocket the way Groot carried him around in the first movie. I'll be surprised if Groot stays that small for the whole movie. I imagine he'll have a massive growth spurt at some point. But if he stays that small the entire time, I really don't think I'd have a problem with it. On our last poll of the week, we asked who would you most like to see featured in a Star Wars Young Han Solo movie. Jabba the Hutt and Greedo drew a 0. Boba Fett came in second with 33%, and Lando Calrissian was the big winner with 67%. I'd like all of the above, but I'd have voted Lando. And it looks like our hopes will be realized. Remember to check out the link to my Twitter page in the description to vote in this week's poll. This is Johnnie Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.